Are you worried that you won't get into your dream graduate school program with your low GPA? In this video, I share with you some tips that will help you overcome that low GPA. What's up guys, my name is Ivan Valdovinos, and on this channel I provide tips, tricks, advice, and strategies for your graduate school applications. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. The first thing that you want to do is you want to figure out how your programs think about GPAs in the admissions process. So some programs rely heavily on GPA in terms of their admissions. So obviously if you have a low GPA, these programs are going to be more competitive for you because they do rely heavily on that GPA. Other programs want to see how you performed in relevant coursework. So your undergraduate or master's coursework, if you're applying for a PhD, is going to be critical for you to gain this acceptance and be competitive if you performed really well in relevant coursework in your field. Some programs take a holistic approach, which means that they look at other aspects of your application rather than just your GPA solely. So they look at your letters of recommendation, they look at your writing sample, they look at your statement of purpose, they look at your resume and CV and work experience, and they take a more holistic approach. So I wouldn't worry too much about your GPA. Other programs rely heavily on work experience or professional experience. This means that they look at the internships you've done, the research opportunities you have had. They also look at if you have full-time work experience. So they, prioritize that more than they do a GPA. So you should look into applying to these types of programs. So I want you to first identify what your programs that you're applying to prioritize. Do they prioritize GPA or other aspects of the application? And that's going to help you determine which programs to apply to and which programs to spend more time on with your application. All this information can be found on their websites. They don't explicitly say we focus on the GPA more than other aspects of the application, but you can kind of tell which programs do prioritize the GPA. So for example, if you are applying to elite institutions like Harvard, Columbia, Brown, Princeton, all these Ivy League schools, they are definitely going to prioritize GPAs and GRE scores, especially if you're applying for a PhD. Whereas other programs, for example, like the program that I'm in currently, the PhD program at the University of California, San Diego, they actually prioritize work experience in the field of education. And they say that on their website. So when I applied, one of the requirements was work experience or experience working with others in an educational space. And so I knew that I had to market my application to fit that mission that they have for their program. So I want you to dive deep into these websites and figure out what your programs are prioritizing. In order for you to overcome a low GPA, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to figure out if you can explain your situation on the application. If they don't give you the option of explaining your situation in the application, you can always explain it during the statement of purpose. But if you do have the option of explaining your situation on the application, I would do it there versus the SOP. Some programs, some applications, they do give you that option. So they'll have like a section called additional information section, or they'll strictly ask you like, do you think that your GPA represents your intellect? Some programs do ask you that. So if they do ask you that, I want you to use that space to talk about your challenges and why maybe you received a low GPA overall, but maybe in some quarters or some semesters you struggled. So I want you to explain things like if you had a medical emergency, for example, that prevented you from getting a high GPA during a quarter, a semester, a year. Explain that in this section or your statement of purpose. If you had to work full time to support your education because of economic hardship, then I want you to explain that either in your statement of purpose or in this additional information section. I want you to explain why you received a low GPA and how that doesn't represent your intellect and your ability to be successful at the graduate level. Something else you can consider doing when you're explaining is recalculate your GPA and take out the low semester / quarters and recalculate it. And especially if that GPA goes up by that recalculation, you can explain to the committee there that if you eliminate, let's say, the fall semester of my sophomore year, my GPA goes up. Most graduate school programs want their applicants to be at least a 3.0 GPA or higher, obviously. So if you're below a 3.0, you should definitely consider explaining your situation, throughout the application, either in the statement of purpose or the additional information section. The next thing you want to know is the requirements of the program. Like I mentioned earlier, some programs do have a strict GPA requirement, so they might require the applicants to have a 3.0 or higher to be able to apply. And most graduate school programs, if they do ask for a 3.0 or higher. But if you have below that, I suggest that you either talk to faculty and see if you can still apply and see if they will still consider you. But also do these other tips that I'm sharing with you here, because it can make you a more competitive applicant and a more complete applicant without a high GPA. Once you have assessed this information in terms of what your programs are asking for a GPA, then you can assess how you stack up against those and determine if your other components of your application will make you a competitive applicant for your program. So I want you to look at programs that don't consider GPA as a high priority. That way you're able to at least be competitive enough to potentially have a shot of getting into your graduate school program. This next tip is probably more obvious, but you want to offset that low GPA by getting a high GRE score. So I want you to take that GRE exam and try your best, study for it, and try to get a high GRE score in all sections. But specifically, I want you to get a high score on the writing section. If you think back to my other videos, graduate school relies heavily on reading and writing. So I want you to focus on these two sections because you're going to be reading and writing for most, if not all, of your graduate school experience. If you are in the STEM field, then you definitely want to focus on the quantitative, the math portion of the GRE. But try to get either average or above average GRE scores to offset that low GPA. Something else that you can do to offset a low GPA is to complete additional coursework. If you are an undergraduate student, this could mean that you take additional coursework in your field. So if you are considering a graduate school program that is, let's say, in biology, then I want you to take additional biology coursework. That way you can show the committee that you can master a skill set in your field. The key to this is mastering some type of skill, some type of knowledge in your field that you want to apply to, so you can show the committee, yes, my GPA is low, but look, I took all this coursework and I'm mastering this subfield or this field, and I want to pursue this as at the graduate school level because I'm interested in it, but I can also perform well in this field. I know the knowledge, I know the skills, and I can do well in your program. So the key here is not just to take random courses, it's to take relevant courses that are in your field, and you want to show mastery of these skills. If you are out of school and have been out of school for a while, then I want you to consider taking online courses, whether they're free or they're paid, but get a certificate. And again, you want to master a skill, master some knowledge in the field. The key here is mastery of a field. So I want you to look at coursework and take that additional coursework so you can become more competitive and offset a low GPA. Similar to the previous tip, I want you to consider being involved in relevant field experience or work experience. Again, you want to show mastery in a skill, mastery in a field. So if you have a low GPA, you want to gain that experience in your field with field experience. So this could mean internships, this could mean research, this could mean volunteer opportunities, etc. I want you to work in these fields for at least a summer to a year or more, so you can show mastery in this field. That way you're able to showcase to the committee that yes, you have a low GPA, but you already have experience in the field, and that's going to make you a more competitive applicant for graduate school, and it's going to help you complete that graduate school program in a timely fashion. Not only will this help you master a skill set, but it will also make you aware of what to expect in the field and help you network. So you're going to have this network of people when you're trying to master the skill set that you can apply during your graduate school experience and beyond. Alright guys, so that concludes my video on how to offset a low GPA during the graduate school application process. I hope you learned something new, and if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments down below or reach out to me. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.